Hey, welcome back. So today we are here with a new kind of barrel proof baseball podcast. It's just me, nobody else is joining me. But one of the things I set out to do was some bottle reviews, and I'm behind. So I need to catch up. So I'm going to start hitting some bottle reviews pretty heavy here in the next week or so. I have really been blown away by the amount of generosity that people have shown with sending me bottles. It's crazy. I mean, my wife's tired of getting knocks on the door with UPS and FedEx dropping off boxes with whiskey. I'm not tired of it. I like it. And so because of that, I want to kind of repay the folks who are sending me whiskey that are not appearing on the podcast, and by doing some sort of bottle review. So one of the main things I was hoping to do with this podcast was provide information about commonly found bottles, because people want to be able to walk into a store and find something that's always going to be there. However, there's so many good bottles out there. There's so many craft distilleries that have a really cool story. So I'm going to make sure I'm mixing in the craft distillery bottles that are being sent to me and give them their fair shake and review their bottles. So here we are. We're going to do that. The first one that I'm going to review is out of Oregon. It's called Westward Whiskey. It's an American Single Malt. It's got a really cool bottle. I dig this. It's a nice bottle. It's a really nice looking label. I mean, this whole thing it's really cool. I like what they've done here. And I think Oregon is a very interesting place in terms of trying to make whiskey, given their climate and depending on where they're aging and what part of the state. I really think it's a cool place and it's a cool story. I'm finding that these craft distilleries all have a really cool story. So I think it's fair to try to tell the story, talk about the people that are doing it. And, they've all got an interesting beginning. I mean, at some point, somebody decided, like, I'm going to take this plunge and start up a whiskey company. So I want to give those guys their fair shake. First and foremost, before we get into Westward American Single Malt Whiskey, a couple of sponsors. One, Manscaped. Okay, still going on, 20% off using the promo code BPB. So free shipping, 20% off at manscaped.com using the promo code BPB. Another one just started. It's from Bottomless Coffee. Pretty excited about this one because I drink probably more coffee than I do whiskey. So check it out. There's going to be a link in the description below. It's a subscription-based coffee deal. It's pretty cool. They send you a scale, put your coffee on the scale. It's Wi-Fi enabled, so it sends them a message when you're running low, and it automatically reorders. So I think if you sign up through them using my link, I think it's your second month is free or your second bag is free. So again, there's a perk. I also get perks because I get coffee out of it. So it's better than money. So check those out. Help support it. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about some Westward American whiskey. Now, full disclosure, it's only fair that if I am going to get free bottles, which I've gotten a number of, I'm not going to like all of them. And I should probably be honest about that. And I'm not trying to hammer on anybody. So if I don't like them, I'm not trying to hammer on them and I'm not trying to make it personal. But I do want to give an honest assessment of how much I like or dislike the bottle. It's only fair. Now, it's not to put down the work that's going into it, because like, this business is really hard. It's not easy. There's so much competition. It's such a crowded space for people who are trying to make quality whiskey. It's just what it is. The craft distillers that are out there are busting their butts to try and put out a good product. And what people, I think, lose sight of is the fact that, and I'm not talking specifically about Westward, it's just when people are making whiskey, it has to age. You can't just make it and it's ready to go. Like, you have to age it. So you have one of two options. You either make your whiskey and you put it out on the market before it's ready to go, or you sit on the whiskey that you've made because you're either absolutely loaded and you can afford to not sell products for a number of years while the whiskey's aging, or you source it. And so while your whiskey is aging, if you choose to make your own whiskey, you go through somewhere like MGP, you buy their whiskey, you put your labeling on it, and you sell it as your own. And then once yours is ready, then you make the switch from MGP or whoever you source your whiskey from, and then you move on to selling your own bottle. So these craft distillers are in a very difficult situation because A, the crowded space, B, they can't compete with the big boys. These guys are not going to compete with Buffalo Trace or Jim Beam or some of those companies that have been around forever. Okay. They just can't do it. I was talking with Penelope Bourbon and Danny Polisi, one of their co-founders, was telling me that some of these big distilleries spill more in a day than they bottle. So it's crazy when you start thinking about volume in those terms. So I respect like crazy what these craft distilleries are doing. So my honest review is not necessarily a reflection on the workmanship that's going into it. It's just my preference, my palate, and it doesn't mean you're going to agree with me or want or not want the same things that I do. So I'm going to be honest. Westward, okay? I'm going to be honest now. When I opened this, I did not like it. I thought it was not very good. It's a 90 proof bottle. The flavors in it, okay, this is going to sound like kind of condescending, if you will, but the flavors in it were super complex. There was so much going on. You could tell that there was depth to it. There was complexity. You're getting a different flavor from the nose through the taste, through the sip, and then the finish. It was just, there's complexity. It's a quality bourbon, right? You can taste that there's quality involved. It just wasn't for me. Like the flavor profile was not for me. So I'm looking at on the bottling. Elegant, robust, and fruity, creamy vanilla, brown sugar notes, baking spice, lush fruit, sweet malt with a tobacco and dark chocolate and leather finish. So like you're talking fruity, you're talking creamy, vanilla-y, leather, a lot going on. And it was like it was super, super deep. And I tried it, and I actually opened the bottle on video and did my review on video the first time I tasted it, and I just didn't like it. And I made the video and I decided to delete it because I thought it wasn't very fair. I needed to give it a better shot. So I've let this sit for a couple of weeks, and I tried it again. And if you know me and I've only taken this much out of it, then you know I'm slowing it down. Trying it after 2 weeks of sitting after trying it the initial time, and I can honestly say it is significantly better. I just think the initial flavor from being bottled up, maybe you just needed to breathe a little bit, whether you believe in that or not. The flavor for me has changed over 2 weeks from when I first had it, because when I first had it, my first review was not good. And I just personally felt bad about hammering them and saying, hey, I don't like this. It's not good. This is retailing at about, well, it retails here locally in Arizona. I saw it at Total Wine for $78. I think the website has it for 70 or so. Maybe actually I saw it for a little bit less on there also. So roughly a $70 bottle. Okay. So you're talking about an expensive bottle. I mean, this isn't a daily drinker. This is, might be a special occasion. It might be the end of a long work week type of a bottle. But it's not going to be something you pull out every day at the end of the workday and sip on at $70. So again, you can appreciate the complexity of it. And then it's kind of up to you to decide if the flavor profile is something that matches what you like. So I, again, didn't like it at first, and it's gotten better. The nose on this thing is very complex. There's like a subtle fruit. There's a little bit of spice to it. It's kind of sugar. Like I definitely get a brown sugar. Like when it says brown sugar, I definitely get brown sugar on the nose. I don't get like that robust necessarily or vanilla flavor on there, but there's definitely some like citrusy fruit. And then that brown sugar is on that nose as well. That is so nice. I really like this. There is definitely leather on the finish. To me, it's got like that new belt smell. Like if you were tasting the way a new belt smells, which is cool. I like that. Dark chocolate, I can get that. I get some orange out of it. This has gotten better. This is definitely something for me. I think for one, the detail going into the bottle. So just having it on your shelf is going to look nice. And then trying it out, letting it breathe a little bit, and getting that fruit, getting that spice, getting that lingering leather. I think it's really good. And I'm glad I gave it a second chance. I'm glad I didn't go with my first instinct when I first tried it out, because it definitely, if I would have quit on this, I'd have a really nice bottle sitting on my shelf, not getting a second chance. So maybe that goes as a lesson for you and me. Don't give up on bottles, because sometimes that flavor does change. Don't be afraid to throw a little ice in it. Don't be afraid to add a little bit of water. It might change it enough to where you like it. It doesn't have to be, okay, I can only have it neat. Because this, for me, I like this neat. I haven't even tried it with water yet, but this is something I really like. Again, you have to appreciate and respect the complexity that's involved in this bottle. This isn't just okay, I'm going to take a sip and you're going to get a little bit of caramel. You're going to get a little bit of vanilla. There's a touch of rye spice. Like that's a very plain, general, generic bourbon to me. This is way more. I don't get caramel at all on this. I don't even get vanilla. I know it mentions vanilla. I don't get vanilla. I get that creamy mouth feel, but I don't get a flavor of vanilla. But there's that slight citrus, that leathery, like, yeah, it's really good. I give them, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan. Glad I gave him a second chance. Try this out. If you don't like it, let it sit a little bit. Try it again. Maybe add a couple drops of water. See if it changes that just enough to where you do like it, because this is a worthwhile bottle to have. $70. Again, not a daily, but a $70 bottle. That's really nice. All right, I suggest it. So now with my bottle reviews, because of the advice of Mr. Brian Birmingham, he deserves all the credit for this. He had mentioned, like, let's really tie in the baseball and whiskey thing. So in doing that, just what Brian had mentioned, he said we should do like a 20 to 80 scale. Those of you that are unfamiliar with that, it's a scale that scouts use for grading out baseball players. 20 is not good. 80 is you're a Hall of Famer. 50 is going to be like your average major league player. So if you're scoring a 20 on the whiskey, don't buy it. That means it's not good. Probably wouldn't even try it. An 80 means drop everything and go buy it right now. Probably not going to have very many 20s. Probably not going to have any 80s except for very few. But in terms of being on that 20-80, with 50 being an average major leaguer, so putting this as like an average bourbon drink that you can find anywhere, I'm going to put this at a 60. I think that it's better than average. I don't think it's elite. I think a 60 as a baseball player has a nice long career in the major leagues. So for me, a 60 means you're going to stick around, something to have. It's not quite elite, but it's definitely better than the average of the best, if that makes sense. Write that down, work your way through it. If you've tried Westward, let me know. Drop a line below. Let me know what you think. I really like this one. So check it out. Love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in again, and look forward to some more reviews coming out every day for the next few days. Enjoy.